everyone. We want to welcome you today to the We Are Flora Pearl podcast. I am your host, Latasha J Humphrey, founder of the Flora Pearl Foundation Incorporated. In a moment, we'll jump into our wonderful podcast today. But before we get started, we want to let our audience know that this podcast is being brought to you by the Flora Pearl Foundation, where our vision is bridging the gap, building a legacy. Our mission is that we are a 501c3, community-focused nonprofit mentoring organization, building healthy relationships and partnerships between women and girls through education, community service, networking, unification, and career planning. Our inspiration is Flora Pearl Humphrey. She was my paternal grandmother, and what she taught me and my family was about faith, family, and community, which is where my inspiration comes from. Now, audience, I have the pleasure of introducing someone special. She is one of my elders who is beautiful on the inside and outside. And one of the things that I love about her is that she is dedicated and she loves her family and the community, which reminds me of my paternal grandmother. We had the pleasure of volunteering with the same organization a few years ago, and that is when I learned even more about how genuine she really is. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Miss Sharon Bracy. How are you doing, Lady Sharon?
I am doing wonderful. How about you?
I am excellent. Thank you so much for asking. And it is just such an honor to have you with us today. And if you would, just briefly go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay, my name is Sharon Bracy, and I am the mother of 4 children and the grandmother of, I'm trying to remember, I lost count. I know it's more than 17 grandchildren, and then the remainder of them are like 7 great-grands. I believe it's 7 great-grands.
Wow.
But anyway, it's a big family.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to be among you and to be able to express myself and just enjoy the moment with you.
Awesome. Well, absolutely, Lady Sharon. And we can go ahead and jump into the podcast. And it's kind of the first topic is dealing with family. And like you share, you have a very big family. And what I know you to be, though, is a pillar in your family. You're always sharing, definitely on social media, a lot about your family. And so if you would just tell us a little bit about, your family and kind of your role in it.
Well, I start off with being the oldest of 7 children, and being blessed to later years in life. They have both our parents, and my siblings call me their big sister. They call themselves making me feel good about saying that when they say you big sister, and I go like, yeah, right. I tell you something, you don't want to do what I say do. And I'm big sister all the other times. I'm really big sister when I remember your birthday.
Oh.
So anyway, so my father and mother were really just strong in my life, and especially both my grandmothers, my dad and my mother's parents, and just all the family all together are just really just big in family reunions and so forth. And so as stated on, I am, like I said, the mother of 4 children and 1 son and 3 daughters, and then the grandchildren and the great grands. And as a result of my grandmother love, I'll tell you, if I can, I'll tell you something about my grandmother. I always wanted to go to her house on Saturdays because I knew she was going to always prepare, always. Very little did she divert from it, but she would always prepare lamb, cabbage, rice, and bread pudding. But the only way I had to do it, I had to go to church.
Oh.
So she said, so my dad would drop me off, and take me and let me spend the night, and I had to go to church with her, and that was every Sunday, and enjoyed that meal that she would always have, and it was always nourishing, and I would always, like, I had a special seat in the house, even though all the other children did too, but I just had that special seat where I just would look at her and always glean from her. And because I had to go to church, I had to attend the activities of what the church offers. So pretty much all my life, that's where I've been. And so because of that, I believe the growth that I have now and going forth and doing the things that I do in the home and in my family, with my family and the community, and especially the things where I acknowledge God in that, I think that has been my strength overall, and I'm just thankful.
Wow. And with that, I just want to ask, even with your grandmother, what's a lesson that you really took away from that time with her?
That lesson I took away of trusting the Lord, that was even on both ends, even though that other grandmother was in Georgia, but both were on the same pattern as if they often kept in contact, but they did in the spirit. But what I took away from her on how to treat people, always, this was one thing that she did do. She said, accept something from a person, even if you didn't want it, at least tell them thank you. I really appreciate you giving that to me. She always said, do not just refuse something because the person tells you, they're giving you something, because most of the time you could bless someone else, but she always would tell us to work hard and accept those gifts that are given to us. Always do as much as you can for another person, because you never know when it's going to come around for that time for you, and you'll see the reciprocal effect of it by you acknowledging others and helping others. Sticking out a hand, stick your hand out and help lift someone else up. So that was one of the things I took away from her.
Wow, that's huge. And as I know, like you and I, we briefly spoke before we started, you have a testimony that you would like to share. So I wanted you to share that with our audience today.
Yes, I wanted to share it. It stated I was going to, over the weekend, go and see my grandson and to and this is he's in prison, but we're in a place where we can't touch one another, and that's so good. And what it was, I started out late, and so I was like, I said, okay, I got this 3-hour drive, and I'm going like, okay, God. And I began to talk about it. I hope I got it right. I began to ask, I said, God, could you not do it like the Ethiopian eunuch did, that you just translated him, or he went supernaturally from one place to another. I said, can you just supernaturally get me to that prison before 11 o'clock?
Right.
And then when I saw it was down to the wire. I had not even made it to my destination, and it was like 30 minutes, and I had less than 30 minutes, and I'm going like, I was about to give up. I said, hold it. I said, no, I know in whom I serve. I said, I'm going back at it again, Lord. I'm asking this again. I know your word said you have not because you ask not. I'm here again. I'm going to believe by faith. I'm going to stand on it. And the song I kept singing, a little stanza of it from Jonathan Nelson, and I kept singing all in the car. Jesus is a way maker, oh, he's a way maker, I know he can. And I just kept singing it, and got in there 5 minutes before 11.
Wow.
And I just give that testimony, and I just say, Lord, I just bless your name. Look at you.
Yeah.
And he said, not because you asked not.
Yeah. Now that's very true. That is very true. And I know that to be pretty much like with you, like you were saying, even going to see, your grandson, and as it relates to generations, I kind of wanted to move into that and ask you, do you think there is a generational divide?
Yes, it is, and we have, and it is one. As one young lady, I was listening to her, and you may have heard of her, Sophia Ruffin, and she made a statement about the millennials and the millennials coming forth, and it is a dividing of the generation, because it's like you got the parents in a hurry. It's like, I don't have time to do this. Go and ask somebody else. Go and seek some other guy. Go and ask your mama. Go and ask your sister. Go ask the next door neighbor. I got a second job I got to go to. And it's always that parent that's in this generation that's always in a hurry. So as these young people are coming up, they're looking around and saying, it reminds me of something that I did in a march called the Jesus March years ago. And the lady was at the end of the line, standing on the corner, and all she said was, is anybody going to stop? Is anybody going to stop? And what it is anybody going to stop long enough to speak life, light, and love into this generation? Because that's all they want is light, they want life, and they want love. And so, yes, it is. Yeah, but I'm going to take my time out. I don't care what it looks like. I'm going to take my time out and listen to what they're saying, what they're asking, because that is what they want.
Yeah.
Would somebody just stop, just listen. Just listen to me. That's what I want.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful too. That those three words, and definitely with it, starting with the L, it really helps to remember. But light, and love. Light. You said light,
life,
and love. Yeah. To know that, and that's true though. Just in it being authentic. And I was reading an article, and it was talking about that, because it was talking about the growing generational divide as it relates to the age, kind of what the author was saying was age segregation. And she was saying, and part of it, she was like, more than anything else, she said her aunt taught her about stories. She knew all of the elements of storytelling, about love, mystery, and trouble. And in the tales, there were comedy, it may have been tragedy in it. But she was just saying that one of the main things that we lose when we don't talk to our elders is the histories. Because she was saying a lot of the teenagers now, they could tell you about reality stars in their lives, but they don't know the love stories of their own parents or their grandparents, and that's where that, like you were saying, that light, life, and love, like speaking those things into, the young people, and then allowing the older generations to do that. They really serve as that example for us to learn from. And to be able to even know certain things we may need to avoid,
Exactly.
And so just with that, like, how do you feel? Like, do you agree with that article and what she was saying?
And I do, certainly, especially with the history of knowing the history. The amazing thing that you would even say that we have been doing reunions from pretty much basically on my mother's side of the family. This is our 51st year.
Wow.
But it is, and it's always beautiful. It's always just coming together, and that is so fantastic. God loves family. That just is. God loves family. So when the family gets together, they got this song, the more we get together, the happier we'll be.
Yeah.
And all these different versions of family, but it just so much can come out the family, because you need to know your family and who it is that you're connecting with. And this year, in November, I lost one of my sisters. And
to hear that.
After that, my brother began to say, Sharon, our younger ones, they really don't they know one another. They know one another, but do they really know one another and all about one another? So he said, hey, I propose this. Let's have a family reunion among the children, which is supposed to climax in August. And he was seeing that wisdom. He said they need to get to know who they are and who it is that they're contacting with, what they can do for one another, how they can learn from one another, and how as their children come up, they will see and gain the history, because my parents left a history, and there's a history that a lot of them that they really come. A lot of times they're calling me and saying, "Sharon, do you remember what Mama said about this, and Mama said to do about this?" And they said, "Go ask Sharon. She paid attention a lot more than anybody else." But all of us did. But I knew it was going to come back around. So as far as the history, we do need to have. They need to know that. And just a little example. One reason why they need to know their history and know their family members and loved ones. My granddaughter she was younger, and she was going to school, and this young man saw her, and he just fell so much in love with her, and he just thought it was it. Well, for some, I don't know how I connected, but my mother saw him, and then she laughed, and she told my granddaughter, she said, "I'm sorry, you can't date him." She said, "Well, why?" "He's your cousin." So,
I know they weren't happy.
She was adamant in not dating him, but he was like, "What? She's so pretty."
I know, right?
It's your cousin, and you can't date your cousin. So yes, we do.
I know he was not
get together.
Right.
You don't know who you get together with.
Right. Well, at least they honored that, because, there's certain situations where, some people wouldn't even cared about it. So, I just think that the fact that they were like, we appreciate, like, even with your mom saying something and them then, being respectful of that and really that means something,
Yes, it does.
So
it's a lot.
Yeah, it does. And you're right, just really even getting to know each other. Because I can remember that growing up too, where we just had different family functions, and there were just certain, like my grandmother, like I talk about my paternal grandmother, Flora Pearl. I just remember her and her siblings, and we got together a lot on that side of the family. As it relates to family functions, it was, always like that, or it was family reunions or things like that. That we we got to know, and then being able to sit and listen to those stories. And that's why when I read that article, I was just like, that's true, because there's certain things you just picked up, like sitting down, kind of maybe eavesdropping sometimes and listening to them talk, and it was like, ooh, you got information that you wouldn't have got. That you wouldn't have got otherwise. And then there was sometimes they did let you sit and listen, and you got to learn different history or just fun. It was funny stuff. It was some things that maybe wasn't so good or whatever, but it was the fact of knowing those things and being able to recite that history and being able to tell those stories. And I love storytelling. I really do. Just listening, you listen to a good storyteller, you just even be able to do it. And I think that I can't really speak for a lot of other races, but I do know, I'm being African American in our culture, that's a lot of the storytelling, the history.
Yes, it is.
Yes, ma'am. Like, can you can agree with that?
I guess I can. Storytelling. I had aunts and my grandmother on my mother's side. Those were stories they could tell, and I could sit with when I was grown, even at that time. And my aunts would come and visit my mother, and they would sit around and just sit and drink coffee, and they would just tell you different stories. And their thing was they loved herbs. And they could tell. I had an aunt that could pick herbs out from the ground, just knew what this one did or that one did. And I pretty much kind of paid attention to the herbs and the different types of what they represented and what they did for the body. So even today, the children in the late midnight hour would be calling, Granny, Mama, I got this headache, I got this, I got the sinus problem, I got this. I mean, what do you recommend, or whatever it is, so I can reach back from my aunts and from the family, from the history, from the stories that were told, to be able to speak into their lives. And I'm just thankful that they paid attention because they called.
Yeah. Now those herbs, they are the truth now. I I remember being introduced to those some years back, but even knowing like some, that there were certain things like that golden seal, and different stuff like that. Like, I was like, oh, okay, and we used to laugh and joke about it at first, but it was just like, no, those are for real,
They are for real, yes, ma'am. Even the golden seal, I would give it to the children in the fall and in the spring. Very seldom did I have problems with colds, sinus problems, pneumonia, or anything like that concerning my children.
Yeah, they're good. So absolutely. Well, we're gonna get into our segment. It's called Ask Our Elders, and I just have a few questions, and just would like for you to share. And a lot of with this particular segment, it's an opportunity for even some things that maybe your family, they don't know specifically about how you would answer the question or what you may share, and it's a good way to for them to get to know even more, but also just for others in order for them to be encouraged by it. So the first question is, what are some of the most important lessons you feel you have learned over the course of your life?
Wow. Oh, wow. There's important lessons of, I know one, do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. Mm-hmm. Giving respecting the elders, even when it was shaky and you wanted to hurry up and get your point across, but you knew you had to pay attention and listen because you could miss something as a result. One of the lessons my mother taught us she always said the first thing you put in the trunk is the last thing that you take out. And so whatever we are putting into our life over the course of our lives, if it's something that is not if it's good or if it's bad, that's going to be the first thing that's going to be put in. And it's going to be of importance. And because of that, you need to put in the good stuff. You need to put in what the scriptures say, something that's lovely, something that's a good report, something that has value, virtue. It's coming back as a reciprocal, because once that's put in, as she stated, it'll be the last thing that's taken out. And so as a result, she had taught us on how to see about one another and to love one another. And those were the important things. Our father believed in us being educated, and he was so funny. He provided, and if you didn't want to go to school, go off to college, he'd say next. You didn't want to go there, he'd go next. And 7 of us. He was the only breadwinner. My mother never worked. And as a result, and that was till all of us were grown, that was something amazing that I saw this woman make do with whatever she had. And she was a seamstress, sewing and making. As a result, that spin-off was really me. I have a brother that did, was sew. But I received that from her. And so I received caring for one another, being a nurturer, loving people, and those were the things that I have had to carry. But most of all, respect for one another, because it will carry you through.
Yeah, that's good. And next, like some people say that they have had difficult or stressful experiences, but they have learned important lessons from them. Is that true for you?
And Say that question again for me. I think I missed something.
Oh, okay. Well, some people say that they have had difficult or stressful experiences, and they've learned important lessons from them. And I wanted to ask, is that true for you? Like, have you learned important lessons from some difficult or stressful situations?
Yes, I have. Many, many, many. And as a result of being a single parent and that lesson after and I was fortunate enough to be home with my children, but as time grew on, their dad left.
Okay.
And eventually that meant that Sharon had to be the breadwinner for 4 children that were wanting to be involved, trying to get them to school, had a part-time job. I was in school, and it was really difficult. But I mean, really difficult. And just you know me, I'm gonna always have a little joke in it. And one day I gathered them all around. The children wanted dogs and cats and fish, and they wanted them. And I gathered everybody in the living room, and I did like one of those cartoons. I said, "Look, this is a one-paycheck family." I said, somebody's got to go. Oh. And the church said the dogs can't leave. And that was already 7. The dogs can't leave. You can't do nothing. You can't throw away the fish, Mama. And Mama, what about the cat? They're going to be just wandering in the street. They just did all that crying. I said, okay then. So you want to keep them and you want to eat less, right? And so, so as a result, I fed them the best that I could at the time, and they would always look in the pot, and one of the things they would say, well, Mama, where the meat? I said, meat, Jesus.
Wait a minute.
And they did not ask anymore for anything. They knew that they were taken care of. They were healthy children. I made sure still we kept the dogs, we kept the cats, we kept the fish. Right. We kept it going. God did it. It was not me, but those were some difficult times. There have been some times where the lights have been out, and one time the gas had been out, and all of us just climbed up in the bed. I remember that so well. All of us just got in the bed together, just loving on one another.
Yeah.
Just loving. And just enjoying that time. So yes, those difficult situations come to make you strong, because if you had it good all the time, you won't know when devastation comes. You won't even know how to react. You won't know what to do. You don't know how to think. You don't know what to do with yourself. But when those difficulties come, and we know that storm does not last always, there is a rainbow. And when that rainbow comes, guess what? That rainbow comes in several different colors, right?
Yeah.
I might be red one day, I might be blue, and then the next day I might be yellow, I might be orange, I might be purple, but I'm coming in the layers. God is showing me, hey, I can come in many different forms, however you like for me to be. I am that.
Yeah.
So,
that's beautiful. Yeah. Awesome. And what would you say that you know now about living a happy and successful life that you didn't know when you were the age of 20? Well, I know now just not to make those mistakes again. Choosing your friends. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's one. Being mindful, and I think that I would be wise in that. And as a result of not going around the mountain another 40 years, I would pay attention more to where who I associate with, as a result of relationships and so forth. And I think that would be one that I would pretty much look at, that would be, that I would look at today.
Okay. Well, perfect. Well, that was awesome. And I wanted to move into a community service. Could you tell us some ways that you're giving back to the community?
Well, I just finished a class with that where I had started the class like from January to May. And my sister was teasing me. She said, Sharon, that's a semester. I hope you know that. And so it was a class for Community Research Fellowship program where I had to go to class on Tuesdays for 3 hours.
Okay.
And there were it was dealing with public health, but there were different professors from UAB that came to teach us different facets of evidence-based research, the importance of public health. Even there was a grant writer there teaching us about grant writing, their clinical trials, participatory community research work. And I had to go out into the community, take pictures, and not of the people, but basically different things that I saw in the community. I had to do a photo voice and then describe that photo voice that I had done. And then I had to participate in our activity that was going on in the neighborhood. And already our home house is in the Kingston area, so that was not a hard journey for me because I already today participate in the things concerning Kingston. I go to the neighborhood meetings and even other community meetings, and also where I'm involved today. As a result of that, that has helped me, and as a result of that, there's many girl organizations and mentorships that I'm part of. But just did one this weekend on what's next after high school, and this was where we were given this year. We gave a scholarship to whoever was writing the best essay, 500 word essay, and we would give away to the alternates other gifts. We gave laptop, iPod, and iPad, and we had great speakers. We had Danny Cohn, who's the first black district attorney. He spoke. Pastor Chris Erskine spoke, and Eddie Bradford. He's over 100 black men, and he's over a mentoring group, and he's over a consulting firm. And they both had rich knowledge to instill in the young people. And we were just so thankful for their presence. And I paid attention. For some reason, I paid attention today. I said, you know what? All three of our speakers were men.
Right. When you were saying their names. Right.
I said, that's so interesting. Didn't pay attention till today. But we were so glad. And the name of that group is called Circle of Love Outreach Services. And so we do many different areas. We work with First Light and also doing job readiness, and also the same. And I invited the other group that I was part of, Feed My Sheep and Girls with Integrity, and Waking the Sleeping Giant is the young men, and Girls with Integrity for the young ladies. And I invited them to participate because it's all the networking. We need to network. A lot of times we think that, this is my group, and no, you're gonna have to network.
Right.
You're gonna have to connect. So giving back, and this right here, giving back into the community, I can almost talk a long time on it. I don't want to, but my mother did that to me. The other 7 siblings. One sibling come out, and the other 6 said, well, no, I don't want to participate. You go on. But I will follow Mama to help in the vote, go to the voting polls, go to the different areas, knocking on the doors, getting people out, then helping out in their campaign headquarters. Just always stayed in the community because my mother was a community-minded person, and it just flowed over. And so I'm just thankful that I think it just it's just in my skin. It's just in my skin. I can't help it.
Right.
It's just there, you know. So
right.
to be to give back into the community any way that I can. And so I am going to work with the community garden that's in the Kingston area, and me and I think I'm starting off with 2 little children, and we're going to be doing some very basic gardening, just very basic, and just talk about it, even incorporate education in it.
Yeah. And I always see you're really such an inspiration, Lady Sharon, to be honest, because I always see you, you're doing different things, and then you real jazzy doing it too now. You dress fly. I'm like, every time I see, I was like, okay, like, all right then, like Sharon, no, but I love it because it's really no excuse. I feel like when, even, you see the younger people, they may be out, but when our elders are out and they still doing it, and they're doing it with class and with style and with grace, then there is no excuse. I really believe that. So I keep doing what you're doing, and know that it's not going unnoticed. And just be encouraged in it. And I just want to encourage you and say that because I really admire you for just the things that you do. So thank you.
And then I want to just piggyback also on Dream Girls, and we had a celebration of appreciation from Latasha, bless her heart. She's amazing, and she gave the different appreciations for each and every person that God just placed on our heart to just appreciate them and acknowledge. And I know that Dream Girls is doing amazing and still continue to do amazing things. And I don't know. I don't know this. I think it's a promotion. I'm working with the leading ladies. I said, oh my God. I said, do you think those girls gonna pay attention to me? I was thinking. I said, well, maybe it might be better if I work with the little ones, because but she saw the fit, and so she saw the fit for me to work with the leading ladies, and so I can speak life into them. I can be style breathing brown the 6-button drag, and I can
you will do
into their lives,
and
because they're needing that.
Right.
They're needing to know about how to conduct themselves to go out into this world, because there's nobody's giving you wooden nickels. And so I'm just thankful to Dream Girls and the move that Dream Girls is making.
Absolutely. And I know you have something to give to them. So when you were just talking about that light, life and love, just those 3 things within itself, you definitely have that to give to the girls. And I know that they will appreciate it. And they'll look back on it. I really believe that as they even continue their journeys, they'll remember what you sowed into them, because you do have something to give, even if you feel like, what is it, or what do I really have to give? But that was a good move on Latasha to put you in that position. So get ready. Look.
I am. I'm waiting on it.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna move into it's a segment. It's called Mother-Daughter Bonds, and I wanted to ask you a few different questions, and it is another way, in a fun way, just a few questions for our audience to get to know you more. And one of the things I wanted to ask, as it relates to your daughters, what have you learned from them?
I've learned from them. One in particular, she's very meticulous about putting things in the proper. No, I'll tell you one thing I learned from her is I'm just using it, but I'm gonna speak on something else. She has a thing about folding her towels a certain way.
Oh, okay.
So when I was living with her, I was not allowed to fold the towels because I did not fold them the way she wanted to see them fold. So I was ostracized from the towel folding segment of things. But that is too funny. But I saw a young lady that just wanted to give. Now she's a giver also, and I learned from her about her giving, helping people, seeing what she can do for them. With the other daughter, I learned how she goes about. She was the same way, but she had this, this sternness about her. She was the younger one too, and she would have a way of her cooking skills. She had excellent cooking skills. I probably thought that she wasn't paying attention, but she was. She's pretty much the excellent cooker. And the other one was, she was the one that always knew how to set ideas and creativity in motion, get you to thinking, get you to working, saying you can do this, you can be this. And those were the things that I just learned from those girls.
Wow. That's awesome. And what keeps you grounded?
First of all, the love of God that He has really put into my life. Sometimes when I feel like I have doubted myself, I'm wondering, am I on the right track? But I'm always hearing His voice. He's speaking to me. Be still and know that I'm God. But I keep me grounded if I reflect on my mother, my grandmother, some things that they just was speaking to my life, or how they conducted themselves. And I will always have a vision of seeing them and what they would do and the things that they would say. And then they'll incorporate it in such a way that it's scripturally based. And I go and I stand on that, on what has been taught to me, what's been told to me. And as I just kind of like would just marinate that over and over in my spirit, and could feel that bond and that family togetherness. I love family, and that keeps me moving in the direction that I need to move. It keeps me where I always, as busy as I am, I'm always taking time out to call somebody, find out how they're doing, how's their family, what's going on with you. And it brings, and that's something that keeps me grounded too, to check on somebody else beside myself. That keeps me moving.
Perfect. And what is something that every woman should try once in her lifetime?
Well, she doesn't know how. She needs to go skating. Oh my God, yes.
Okay, look.
The funny thing is, my pastor would bring it up. He said, when I saw Minister Bracy, I saw her on the skates. I said, man, look at her. She even skates backwards. He said, wow. He said, I can't do that. He said, and at this time now, as tall as I am, he said, I probably would erupt the floor. But, maybe there's some women that probably do skate. But, I think that's one thing. But to just do something really exciting that you always wanted to do, and you wanted to take that next plunge into it, I think you just need to do it all you got, and not let it be because, I'm not old, I'm too old for this. No. No, do it. It's exhilarating, and it's fun, and it'll complete your life, and I just thank you, but I do believe, go skating.
Okay.
Go skating, which is ice skating, roller skating, however you do it, just do it, just enjoy it.
Perfect. And what is some advice you would give to a woman with a broken heart?
Oh, a woman with a broken heart. That woman with a broken heart, would need that love, that would need that being acknowledged and held. There's so many things that are rolling in my head for that woman with a broken heart, because that heart is broken, and because that heart is broken, it's almost like nobody can reach her. But I just like to give her that first a hug. It's one thing that I would like to do for her. I would like to give her a hug and just let her know that you are not alone, that there's love from the Father. And even though sometimes we get to that point where we just feel like all hope is gone, but we know that he's a God of all hope. But that woman with that broken heart, that will just to hold. I think I just keep going back to that. She needs to be held.
Yeah.
She just needs to be held and know that she is loved. Just not really going on a conversation with her, not telling about your life history, not telling what you should have, could have, would have done. This just keeps coming back. She needs to be held.
Yeah.
And just held until that release of that energy from that other person that's genuine withholding her is released into her. So
awesome.
My advice, I just keep going back to that, holding them.
Yeah, that's good. Lady Sharon, what is your legacy?
What am I leaving for?
Just when people think about you, what would you say? What would be something you would want to leave and say, this is what I leave behind? Like, this is my legacy.
Okay. I enjoyed life. That I enjoyed encouraging people, regardless of whoever or whatever was going on in their life. I like to leave the laughter. I want to leave the laughter for them. I want to let them know, still in the midst of all of what you're going through, we're going to laugh on this. I want to leave that in their lives. But to know that statement I saw, each one reach one. I just want, if I didn't reach for one person out of my whole life, I wanted to be able to leave something enough that as they go on with life, they can reach the next person. But I do wanted to leave that was an encourager, and I didn't walk on you, that I just tried to help you and bring you up higher than you were before. So that's what I would like to leave.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to move into our faith segment, and it is an opportunity for our guests to share a time when their faith has been tested and how they came through it. And that's so we can encourage someone who's listening.
Okay. You want me to go in and speak?
Oh, yes, ma'am. No, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I want you to share a time when your faith has been tested and how you came through it.
Oh, how my faith. I remember having to have major surgery. And as a result of having I'm going to use this one. I have several, but my faith was tested. I was 2 years ago crossing the street, going to get something to eat. And as I branched out, I remember so well, as I love water. I began to drink the water, and I waited for the light to change. Normally, I would have just kind of jaywalked across the street, but not that day. I drunk some water, And as I drank the water and crossed the street, there was a cousin in a car, and she saw me, and she just said, "Hey, cuz." I said, "Hello, how are you doing?" And then next thing I know, I was on the ground. And as a result of being on the ground, as I laid there, I was in the prayer position when I laid there, and all I could hear was, "Lady, don't move. Lady, don't move." And I'm going like, what hit me? Because I felt it, but I didn't know that's what had hit me, that it was a car. And so the thing that God knows about his children, as I said, the faithful says that he had the emergency people in place. They did not have to call. They were just like on the street.
Wow.
And they were in place. And they were there for me. And as a result of being hit by this car, I could hear the young lady say, "Ma'am, I'm sorry I didn't see you. I'm sorry." I never saw her face, but I knew that as I was taken to the hospital and believing God for no broken bones, which there were no broken bones at all, just believing what had taken place and the prayers that had already been sent out and going forth, and believing God for all of that, even having a Christian doctor to even wait on me as a result of it, and all through the time that I was recuperating, I know that God is. He put those angels in place. He put those people in place for me, for his child, and I just believe that as a result of my faith being tested, to trust him in it, because he brought me through that. Because I'm thinking, you're hit by a car. I was even told I was thrown in the air. I do not remember none of that. I knew I was conscious. I didn't lose my glasses. I came down in the prayer position. That's the only thing I just remember. And I just knew that as a result of the faith that I believed God for total healing, which I did receive, that's where I was tested in that. And one of the things I was tested in.
That is huge. That is really huge. Well, thank you. Oh, my. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Oh, wow. So wait, I just wanted to ask, kind of follow up with that. When you left, so even like after you being there, when did you, how, I guess like how many days was it when you got to walk away, or was it the same day?
No, I didn't get to walk away then. They took me to the hospital.
Okay.
And to the emergency room, and so I had them to, they did scanning, making sure wasn't anything broken, but I do know that this was this huge hematoma that was on my thigh, and I had my knee in like a brace, but I had to have it looked at by a doctor, and this sports medicine doctor pretty much only saw young people, but I knew him. And he was a Christian doctor, and I said, Doctor, I said, Dr. Matthew Hill, I said, I know you see young people, but I just wanted to ask, would you see me? He said, Miss Sharon, you know I will see you. And every time he examined me, every time, even doing physical therapy and everything I had to have, he prayed before we ended our segment.
Wow.
So, the favor
awesome.
of God, when you trust in him with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. I'm standing on that through it all, and all that ways acknowledge him, and he's going to direct your path if you trust him, and and believe him. And believe his word, because you got to believe. And so as a result of that, I began to do bicycling, and he told me that's the best thing you could have done for yourself, to learn to start that bicycling.
Wow.
So that's another thing women we can start doing vitally.
Yeah. Wow. No, thank you for sharing that, Lady Sharon, because that's huge. That really is. I mean, to live to tell about it and then be totally restored. You know, that total restoration is what's really beautiful about that. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we're gonna Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying you're quite welcome.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna move into our closing segment, and there's a few questions here. And one of the things we want to know, basically, if you had the opportunity to speak to your 4-year-old self, what would you say to her?
My 4-year-old
Yes.
self?
Yes.
Oh, my 4-year-old self. Oh, my God. I would. Funniest thing, I got a 4-year-old great-grandson.
Oh.
So I'm going to tell you what I have learned from him. I would look into his eye. He would tell me to take my glasses off and look into his eye and tell me, what did I see? And I would tell him, I said, oh, I see your dad. I see you going to the store. Oh, I said, oh man, I see you. Oh, look at you. Oh, you're riding a new bicycle. And I guess my statement would be, I would look into the eye, my 4-year-old eye, and see the amazing beauty. I could see that ballerina. I could see that person that I wanted to be some years ago. I wanted to be a fashion. I wanted to be an interior decorator. And I could look into that 4-year-old self and see myself branching into being that interior decorator that I had always wanted to be. I would look into my 4-year-old self and just see myself sitting up, carrying on little conversations and doing artwork, which I used to enjoy drawing. That's what I could tell my 4-year-old self. I would look into my 4-year-old eye. I would look into the eye of my 4-year-old self and just tell myself where I wanted to always write. And I'm gonna, and that 4-year-old self is telling me today that I'm going to do that. I would love to write. And so that's what I would tell my little 4-year-old self,
right.
Looking into my eye.
Wow. Okay. And who inspires you?
Is it someone in the family or just outwardly?
Just wherever your inspiration comes from.
Whoever, oh my, just so many that keeps me rooted and grounded. Just so many just inspire me to keep me moving, to keep me going, and I see the light. Oh wow, many, just so many that I can glean from.
So you
but
get.
I guess I can say as I look at one of my brothers that has a lot of gifting in him, and my sister who just keeps going on regardless of the odds and the things that have happened in her life. She just continues to press in, and I look at inspiration that comes from little children.
Yeah.
Little children, their little lives just inspire me to just stay the course.
Yeah.
When I listen to them and their little stories and how they want to just how their conversation is and how I'm inspired by them. I am.
Okay. All right. Well, what is the best piece of advice, and I call it pearls of wisdom, that you've ever received?
Ooh. I pretty much kind of, I guess, spoke on those.
Okay.
All doing, but that was one where that was one of that wisdom where my mother said the first thing you put in the trunk is the last thing that you take out.
Yeah.
And to go through your life making sure that whatever you're putting in, that is wholesome and it's good, and it brings life and not death, and it brings something to inspire and encourage a person to know that they can press on and be all that they can be. That was one of the things that I got from her, was the first thing you put in the trunk is the last thing that you take out.
Okay.
So,
perfect. Well, is there anything, last minute comments that you wanted to share, or?
Well, I'm just so thankful to it all, and that was scripture that I stick with. One of them I keep in my mind is Ephesians 3 and 19. It said, "And to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled with all the fullness of God." So that's to know His love. His love passes knowledge. It surpasses all of that you're going to be filled to overflowing, that you'll be to overflowing in all of what God is placing in your life, to know this love and to express it to others, to let them know that you love them. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. See, that helps to make this a better world. Reach out and touch. Don't keep to yourself. Reach out and touch. Go out into the highways and the byways. Love on someone. Hug someone today. Let them know. Put a phone call in. Send a card. There's one thing that I love. I love to send a card to somebody. I love to give an inspiring word, or just to let them know that that this smile is for you. I love to say this smile is for you, or just to speak a word in season. So I like to leave that, to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled with the fullness of God. And I like to leave that.
That is awesome, Lady Sharon. And we just want to thank you so much for being with us and for sharing with us today.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. And I don't think Chick-fil-A got that just coined. I think God just wanted all of us to say it.
I know, right? My pleasure. Absolutely. Well, thank you once again.
You're welcome. You are so welcome. Just honored. I'm like, man, I'm touching myself, pinching. I said, did I really? Talk.
See? Look.
Yeah.
No, you did excellent. So thank you again, though.
You're quite welcome. Blessings upon you. Blessed shall you be.
I receive that. I receive it. And our goal at the Flora Pearl Foundation is to always be a blessing to all of those that we come in contact with by operating with the spirit of excellence. We want to thank you all so much for listening today. And you can visit our website at www.florapearlfoundation.org. We look forward to spending time with you all each week, and we will talk to you soon.